Hello and welcome to a brand new video. And the last video I posted was of this garage getting updated. As you can see, it's nice and clean now, and I have tied up since the last video as well, so since the last take on the last video. But we have a problem. It's cold. It's really cold. It's been pretty much 0 degrees Celsius for the past few weeks, sometimes dipping just above. It's cold, and I'm sorry for my voice, I'm a bit ill. Not even exaggerating. And one thing that this place definitely lacks is heat. Last 3 summers I have survived with not being in the garage, if I'm honest, or with a little electric fan thing. And to be fair, it's not a great solution. So I have finally caved in and bought one of these Chinese diesel heaters. And I would like to point out that this is not sponsored in any way, shape or form. I literally went on eBay, again, not sponsored. I mean, I wish, but not sponsored by eBay, at least yet. So I had a couple of criteria. It had to have Bluetooth, it had to have 220/240 volt input, and it had to be one of the more powerful ones, so like 8 kilowatts. So let's start with unboxing. Let's begin. So, made in China, it's something called Gear. No idea whether that's the name of the brand or name of the company that I bought it from. However, it's not really relevant. Oh, that's really light. So, more rubbish. So it comes with a little remote. Okay. This does feel a bit flimsy. Ironically, it's actually quite warm because it was in the house for the past week and a bit. Just I mean, why not? So let's see what else there is in this kit. I think it's designed potentially to be fitted outside. It comes with these. So I guess I can fit it wherever and then point out the fan to be somewhere else. Part of the exhaust. I suppose that's also part of the exhaust to make it. No idea. And then we have a converter, AC/DC power converter, input 110 to 245, output 12 volts, polarity. We shouldn't care about that because everything's labelled up. I should mention the name. So this Gear, and the model is unknown. There's a nice, well, I want to say there's a LED screen here that we're gonna power up and see what it's all about. So model is BSE-D8. It takes diesel oil, and there is this thing for, I guess, cutting into your walls. So a nice little drill bit for your exhaust. Then we have, that is not needed because, well, you can keep it if you want to power the heater from the battery, which I'm not going to be doing. Then we have the small fitting kit, couple of different clamps and so on, and a little intake filter, I believe. Or is it exhaust filter? It's plastic, but it feels more like it should be intake rather than exhaust. I suppose, nope, that doesn't fit in here. Interesting. Good thing that it comes with instructions. Obviously, standard exhaust, which I'll probably use. So, out of the way with that. Comes with instructions, blah de blah de blah. Yes, I was right. So that is the intake filter. And interesting to note that my initial idea of where I wanted to mount it probably is not going to work. Or maybe it will. So I guess we can start with actually reading the instructions. Let me read that so you don't have to. Also, I'm going to take these gloves off because they're actually quite funny. Right, these gloves are coming off. Right. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it in this video or not, but what I want to do is to create a heat exchanger so that, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you probably watched other videos about the diesel heaters where people create heat exchangers. So basically your exhaust, as you know, that's going to be like 100 odd degrees and it's going to go out in the air. You're going to lose a lot of efficiency. So what people do is add additional radiator or heat exchanger. Some people run EGR valves and heat up the water like that. And essentially it's salvaging the exhaust temperature, exhaust heat, and rather than wasting it, you can also sort of capture some of that heat and keep it where you want it. So you can definitely tell the cheapness of it. Because this doesn't feel very good. You might be wondering, why am I doing all this now rather than just getting it up and running and sorting out the exhaust later on? However, I know myself and I know you as well. There's nothing more permanent than temporary. So let's get this done once and for all. I can guarantee this will burn through at some point. And I am wondering where I'm going to fit it. Or where is going to be the permanent position for this. And I reckon it's going to be straight through, straight under the straight under the TV. So the biggest question is where to fit this, whether it should be inside or outside. At any point fitting this at all. It can only be fitted to this end really as it stands, so it will have to be outside. And the next question is, yeah, this is bigger. So the question to the Chinese manufacturers is, how deep do you think that is? And what sort of adapter? Camera will try to focus. It's basically almost like a triangle, so it would fit into a drill bit, into a drill. But how I'm going to drill 4 inches of a wall with this? Please explain. The plans have changed. I tried to drill through a solid brick, and yeah, that didn't work out. So now I think maybe a better plan. I have this corner, and I think I'm going to make some brackets and use up this space and hang the heater in there. I already tried drilling the breeze blocks, and it does work a lot better than the solid brick. I don't really have any other walls where I could put this, because on the outside of this garage I have plastic cladding, which probably wouldn't work very well with the hall exhaust. And this wall is the only one where there's no plastic. Okay, so I think I figured out where I'm going to mount the diesel heater. It's going to be approximately here. I was able to move my toolbox a little bit to the left, and unfortunately there's not enough space, unless I remove the slats, to fit it lower, which might be a decent idea. I actually might be able to fit on the floor. Is that an option? One of the options is to cut down the bottom lats and actually fit on the bottom and then make another shelf. I need a minute to think about this, because basically I cannot be bothered to cutting them slats down. But the heat goes up, so it would make more sense to have it at the bottom. So I decided not to film how I was mounting it, because basically I couldn't really get any decent footage, and I didn't want to have a long time lapse on my ass, because that would be the best shot I could get. So let me show you what I've achieved. So I have decided to cut the slats and fit the heater in this corner. I think it's pretty safe to be in there, because on that side is the diesel container, so there's nothing flammable there, and then there's metal on this side. Obviously there's wooden stand, but should be okay. The exhaust is just there. I've tried to record my opinion and my thoughts about this heater unit on the first night when I got it running and I had my first hand experience with it. There was like 3 or 4 videos, and I was not happy with any of them, because I felt like I was maybe a bit too negative. And I thought, I'm going to leave it for a few days. I'm going to use the heater for a few times and see how I feel about it later on. One of the things that I kind of complained about was how noisy the exhaust was, and just generally how short the exhaust pipe was and stuff like that. So what I've done, I've ordered some additional exhaust off eBay. It was like $12.99, and it comes with an additional muffler as they call it. One of the bolts is already rusty. That's quite funny. But apart from that, it doesn't look like it's much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the new exhaust, and I have a clip of how it runs without the exhaust or with the original exhaust, and let's see if it's going to make any difference. Okay, so the exhaust has been fitted. Bending this flex is it's another story, but I managed to get it in the end. So let me show you what I've done. It's nothing fancy, and don't judge me for it because it's a bit of a budgery. So we have that additional. I'm struggling to find a good angle. So I've got the exhaust there coming out from the heater, running underneath my toolbox, wraps around, comes back and into the muffler and straight through the wall. And out here, the original exhaust and the original muffler, and it's pretty silent. I'm actually surprised at what difference it made. It is probably twice, maybe 3 times quieter than it was. I can say that it's actually now quieter on the outside than it is inside. So that additional exhaust, which was only £12, it was actually a really good investment. So let me gather my thoughts, and I shall give you my honest review of the heater. Okay, so it has been a few days since I actually first got the heater. I used it for a few times and maybe I calmed down, maybe I rested. But my initial opinion of it is nowhere near to where it is now. So I have run it for 3, maybe 4 hours altogether now. The issues I seem to have had with Bluetooth initially seem to have gone away. I can power on the heater, open my phone, open the Bluetooth app, and it can reconnect pretty quickly within a couple of seconds, and I can turn on the heater. That seems to be absolutely fine. I seem to be able to switch from manual to automatic mode on the heater itself. However, I cannot switch back for some reason, but it doesn't really bother me. It is what it is. Considering that the temperature sensor is somewhere within the unit and it heats up way too quick. It currently says it's 23 degrees in here, but as you can see, I'm wearing a few layers of cloth. I've still got my hat on because it's not that warm. However, it's comfortably not cold anymore. So overall, I would say that actually for the money, £105 plus £12 for the additional exhaust is really good value for money. Now you could run an electric heater. Yes, they're cheaper to buy, but they consume a lot of electricity, and electricity is quite expensive in this day and age. Diesel, you can mix it with oil, which is something I will probably mix going forward. I just wanted to get it running on pure diesel just to see what the consumption is like and just to make sure it works. And I guess while it's under warranty as well, it's worth just running it on diesel. Once the warranty runs out, just run it on whatever. And from all the different reviews I've seen, people do not recommend running it on 100% oil, but maybe a 20-80 mix, so 20% oil and 80% diesel probably will be fine, and maybe an additional cleanup every now and again will be required. So would I recommend buying one of these diesel heaters? The answer is yes. If you do not have any heating source in your garage, it's a beautiful bit of kit, great for the money. The temperature in the garage gets up to comfortable pretty quick. I think that bit has definitely exceeded my expectations. and I do regret not buying one 2-3 years ago when I first built this garage, and I had a tiny little electric heater and I could never get the temperature up to anything decent in here. Now it's actually a way nicer place to be in, especially in winter when, normally I would try to go to garage and I was like, oh, it's cold in there, I don't fancy being out in cold, and just stay at home. So I think this winter I will be spending more time in the garage purely because I can actually have nice warm environment. Hopefully this installation video, kind of review video, made sense, and hopefully some of you will find it useful. If you do have any comments about your diesel heater maybe, or maybe you have some questions, do let me know down in the comments. I do read my comments and I reply to pretty much all of them, and I'd be really happy to hear some feedback from the diesel heaters that you have used, and maybe there are some mods that can be done to them, who knows. So thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next one.